Thank you for the enthusiasm. Have you ever wondered what the difference is between success and failure? Kind of ironic, I guess. I think about this a lot, and the other day I decided that it really came down to decisions. What we decide to do is what we do. When you tell yourself you'll go to the gym after work, but you get home and you're too tired, did you really decide to go to the gym? When you tell yourself, oh, I'll lose 10 pounds, but you come to Toastmasters and there's donuts and lots of carbs and gluten, have you really decided that you're going to lose 10 pounds? This all became more real to me the other day when I heard the story of David. David was a 13-year-old boy who decided to leave his home. He always kind of had a need for a thrill, so I guess running away at 13 was that thrill he was looking for. Of course, he got mixed up with the wrong people and started doing things he shouldn't be doing, eventually finding himself in a stable home with them. Really, it was just a place to lay his head. There, they taught him how to deal drugs. He started with marijuana, and he kind of learned the business. Things got worse, and by 9th grade, he had completely dropped out of school. By the time he was 14, he had gotten a 30-year-old girl pregnant. So imagine, 14 years old, and you have a child on the way. He continued to mix himself in with the wrong crowd, didn't really see any way out. He kept going, and eventually he was selling heroin. Then his baby was born, and life kind of became overwhelming. I'm sure you can imagine at 14 years old, you're not prepared to have a daughter. As life becomes overwhelming, he found himself heavily involved in drugs. He said he became his best customer. He was wandering the streets, addicted to heroin. Finally, his parents stopped trying to help him. He ended up never speaking to his girlfriend, I guess you could say, the mother of his child. He hadn't seen his daughter in years. He was addicted. All he thought about was where he was going to get his next hit. Where was his heroin going to come from? One day he found himself down deep on the south side on 16th Street, just looking for heroin. He had no money. He was stealing things just to pay for it. Finally, he found just a little bit, just enough that he could get into his bloodstream and feel okay again. So he found himself in the bathroom, on a dirty house on the south side, with just this little bit of heroin, and he was shaking so bad as he was trying to use it that he dropped it on the toilet seat. He found himself grabbing, looking for anything that he could get to soak it up and put it back into his thing so that he could get it into his bloodstream. He remembers just falling on the floor crying. And he got up and he looked at himself. He saw his reflection in a dirty, nasty mirror with stains and cracks, and he realized that he didn't even recognize himself. He had lost 30 pounds, he had scars all over his face, he was in deep, and he knew he needed to get out. He looked at himself, and he made the decision that he would never do heroin again. He left the bathroom, he left the house, and he just started walking. He remembered that his dad lived 3 miles away, and that's all he knew to do. So he walked to his dad, who he hadn't talked to in years. He winds up on his dad's doorstep, knocks the door, prays, and thanks God that his dad finally answered. He told his dad, "I know you don't like me. I'm not sure if you love me, but if you don't help me right now, I'm going to die." His dad took him in, and he slept on the couch for 3 weeks. He went through his withdrawals. He shook every night. He had leg cramps. He threw up. He decided he was never going to do it again. He got through that, and finally his dad got him a bed to sleep in. He slept in the bed for 3 months, and finally his dad really realized that maybe this was it. Maybe this was real. He decided to move into an apartment with him as David continued to get his life together. He delved into self-development. He got himself a job. He started seeing his daughter. It's been 7 years now, and David is in the top 8 income earners within our industry. He travels the world, giving back to people, sharing his story, because he made the decision to not do it again. Quitting heroin is hard. It's really hard. Losing 10 pounds is not that hard. It's all about a decision. So what do you decide to do?
All right.